Hello my lords, my name is Vikadu and today I'll be teaching you how to play Pharaoh Druid. So let's start with basics. Let's start with talents. So I use Lunar Inspiration because I personally prefer it over Blood Sand, and Predator is pretty much useless in PvP. But if you're having trouble using Lunar Inspiration, you can use Blood Sand. For the second role, I would suggest Wow Charge is the most viable one. I mean, Displacer Beast could work, but not for Pharaoh. Like, I don't, doesn't suit the playstyle of Pharaoh. Renewal could be good in some team comps where it's hard for you to survive, or in a 1v1 situation where you just get burst from 100 to 0 and you need the extra 3% health. For my third role, now a lot of people pick Balance Affinity or Guardian Affinity. I personally hate Guardian Affinity because I feel like it's useless. I mean, 6% damage reduction is not enough, and from Resto you get 3% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. So basically in 10 seconds you get those 6% damage reduction, and this can also heal your team members, and it provides even more healing. The reason I'm not using Balance Affinity, in a PvE situation this is better, but in a PvP situation I'd say it you don't need it, to be honest. The extra 5 yards could be helpful, but that's only if you're having trouble sticking to your target, and to be honest, as a Pharaoh you shouldn't have that problem. On the next row, it's always Mighty Bash. It's so much better than the others. Mass Entanglement is could be helpful in some PvE situations, but that's the only thing. And Typhoon is like, you can use it in some Aracti Basin or Eye of the Storm just for fun to knock people off, but that's it. And next row, I love Incarnation. It's so good. It provides with extra energy, more spammable abilities. For bursting, your Shred just melts people. Jagged Wounds after the nerfs, it's not good enough, I'd say. It's just not worth it. Soul of the Forest, if you have the legendary that gives you this talent, it's good. And I would personally sometimes use this in PvE just because it's easier to maintain energy, and the only times you use Incarnation in PvE is against boss, and this is more of an overall thing. So for the level 90 talent, I use Brutal Slash. I don't think Savage Roar is as good as it used to be, and Saber 2 doesn't feel enough. I mean, 20% damage from a Ferocious Bite. Ferocious Bite deals for 500 damage, 500,000 damage. So 20% from that is another 100k. So another 100k, or you can pick another 1.2 million damage. The only good thing about this is the refreshing of Rip. For example, if you're using Blood Downs, you just snapshot your bleeds and just refresh them with the Ferocious Bite, and it's easier for them to be maintained. But I would say it's an overall damage decrease. So yeah, just go Brutal Slash. And it provides AoE, it has good damage, and it costs only 20 energy. It's not like you're losing a lot by losing your swipe. You only use it for AoE, and Brutal Slash is 3 times better or even more than swipe, so yeah. For the last one, a lot of druids pick blood talents, but I personally don't think the 20% extra increased damage is enough because of how often Moment of Clarity procs. I mean, in a 1-minute battle, I counted it like 15 times, and 15 times, let's say, even 15 times plus 20% on each ability. If you add 20% to 1.2 million damage, that's a lot. I mean, you're not gonna be using it always on your Brutal Slash, but even using it on Shred or even Trash is still good. Okay, if you want me to explain more thoroughly why I picked those talents instead of like Sabertooth, Blood Talents, and the Balance Infinity, and probably show you some logs or something, I'd say this is a lot better, at least for PvP. For PvE, I would probably pick Blood Sand, Balance Affinity, and maybe Soul of the Forest. Mighty Bash could be useful, but for yeah, like I'd probably pick this for PvE. So this is my PvE setup, and this would be my PvP setup. Okay, for Honor Talents, a Trinket is a pretty much must. Adaptation is pretty much useless, and Relentless doesn't really help you unless you're an orc, and druids can't be an orc, so no point in taking it, so just go Medallion. For example, you use your burst, you get stunned, you trinket it, continue just like nothing happened. For a second row, I use Reinforced Armor because it's a flat 10% health increase, while this is like... You're not gonna stay above 80% health in a PvP situation. No way you're above 80% health. And sparring is... I feel like it's too RNG for it to be viable. Maybe against some warriors and probably some rogues it could be really good, but that's like 2 out of 12 classes. Because like paladins now deal for some reason a lot of ranged attacks, and yeah. For the third row, I love Thorns in some arenas. Thorns is my top damage dealer. Like I get CC down and people just focus me. I use all my defensives, and for example, a monk with just Fist of Fury took his half of his health just from Thorns. But against mages, against spellcasters, this is pretty much useless. So you need to either go Protector of the Grove or Tooth and Claw. Tooth and Claw is okay, I guess. I mean 15% health, but that's just in bear form, and I don't like the playstyle where you sit in bear form. You don't do enough damage in bear form. You need to be doing damage as a feral druid. So against casters, I would probably use Protector of the Grove, and it gives you an option to run away and heal yourself up faster than you would usually do. For example, if a mage throws an orb at you and deep freezes you and stuff, you just run away, heal back up, while this would do nothing. For the next row, I use Savage Momentum. It's so good. Almost every class has a spell that they cast. Even Demon Hunters have Eye Beam that you can interrupt, and it's gonna refresh the cooldown of your Tiger's Fury. This, I guess it could be good if your partner in 2v2 or 3v3 has no route escapes. For example, I know demon hunters have a lot of trouble with routes. Maybe if you're doing twos with a demon hunter, you could pick this so you can help your partner. And I'd say this is just for battlegrounds, more swiftness. It's not useful in arenas compared to the other two. For this row, I go Earthen Grasp. This is pretty much a useless talent. Even though this is an incap, and it's not gonna DR with your stuns, it's gonna break from your blades. So if you have a blade or something, or you, for example, use a Moonfire, let's say on accident you use a Moonfire, it's gonna break instantly. And I personally don't use a lot of times Maim. The only time I use Maim is if my Mighty Bash is on cooldown and I need to stun the healer. So I charge on the healer and stun him with my Maim, which even if it's a 3-second stun, it's still good. And King of the Jungle, it's a good talent, I guess, but I don't think it's as good as this. If you're having trouble sticking to just people, this could be good in a, let's say, a battleground, where you're spreading blades, putting grip on and everything. So you can use it then, but otherwise just pick Earthen Grasp. Yeah, it gives you a 10-second cooldown, but reduces the target chance to hit by 80%. For example, you could make a warrior miss his execute, I think, or something like that, and that's gonna save you. For the last roll, Fresh Wound is no point in taking it. I mean, the other two are better, and for 90% of the time, your Rake is gonna crit, and if it does, it's not that big of a deal. Rip and Tear. It's a 1-minute cooldown, and Rip and Rake have how long do they say for exactly? They say for 24 seconds. So you get around 35 seconds of downtime, and yeah. But Ferocious Wound, oh, that's a spicy one. You can reduce the maximum health of your target by 15%. Imagine that being a fat ass warrior with 7 million HP. 15% from that's plus the hit. That's basically a 2 million hit. It's gonna stay on him for 20 seconds, and you can refresh it, basically. So he would be a 5 million HP warrior instead of 7. It's so much better. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's for talents. Specialization, it's obvious. Feral, yeah. Good. Okay, for stats, I'd say get around 40% crit. 40 to 50% crit is your optimal crit. You don't need more. I'd say probably 45 is the best spot for crit. Haste is useless. I know I have a lot, but I'm trying to fix it. I'm just not getting the items I need. Nothing I can help it. I'm just waiting. Mastery, compared to other expansions, I'd say it's not as important. I don't feel like it's making a big enough difference. So versatility is my personal favorite for stats. If you can get items that give you versatility, use them, because it boosts your overall damage and healing So your basing rotation is going to start with stealth. That's pretty much obvious. You're going to open with Rake, apply a Moonfire, and build your 5 compounds with Shred. Then you're going to Tiger's Fury, Rip, and if you want to burst the target, you can use your cooldowns before you apply the Rip, then apply the Rip, because that's going to increase the damage of your Rip even more. And then use your Ashmin's Frenzy. Using your Ashmin's Frenzy is gonna provide with you 5 comp points. Use your Brutal Slash. If it crits, it's gonna be up to 5 comp points. Ferocious Bite, Brutal Slash, Brutal Slash, Shred, Bite, Shred, 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 Bite, and repeat. It's pretty basic. If you need to CC the target, you just use your Mighty Bash. If he starts casting something, you use your Skill Bash. It's going to refresh your Tiger's Fury. You're gonna want to keep it for your next Rip, preferably. If not, if you think you're going to be able to kill the target, use it as soon as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much your basic rotation. If you don't want to burst the target, you're going to apply all of your dots with trying to snapshot your Rip. What I personally like to do in arenas, for example in a 2v2 situation, I don't use all my bursts in the beginning. I use Ashmin Frenzy though, just because it provides so much extra damage. They're going to think that you're bursting them, they're going to use defensives. At that point you're going to try and survive and wait their defensives to go out. Then you're going to reopen on them with your full burst and just delete them. It's that easy. Nothing more, nothing less. The only problem I have with Pharaoh right now is our only defensive is Survival Instincts. We have nothing else to defend ourselves with. I mean, heals are okay, but compared to other classes, they're just... I feel like they're just weak. You can kite a bit and heal in the meantime, but yeah. If there's a paladin, you just need to kite. Pharaoh is a lot about kiting, and yeah. Let me just show you the basic opening. So, Rake, Moonfire, Shred, use all your stuff, then Ferocious Bite, Brutal Slash, Brutal Slash, Brutal Slash, Ferocious Bite, refresh your bleeds, Ferocious Bite, more damage, boom, boom. As you can see, this is just destroying the target. And yeah. That's it. It's pretty basic. If you guys would like me to, I'll show you some arenas and other stuff, and maybe I'll do a dueling guide on how to duel each class, like paladins or rogues. If you're having trouble with them, I'll make a guide. And yeah, if you think I missed anything, just tell me in the comments. I'll explain in some other video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. I don't think Savage Roar is good at is as good as you. I don't think Savage Roar is